Air Force One, an aircraft built specifically for transporting the president, a symbol of American presidency and its power. On October 11, 1910, Theodore Roosevelt became the first president to fly in an aircraft. Although he was no longer in office, he took flight in a Wright Flyer. He flew over a crowd at a country fair and marked the beginning of presidential air travel. Before World War II, presidential travel overseas or cross-country were very rare. Railroads were the safest and most reliable ways to travel to faraway states. In the late 1930s, air travel became more reasonable to the U.S. public with the arrival of planes like the Douglas DC-3. The advancements in technology such as radio aids for navigation and more reliable engines made air travel safer and more convenient. The first president to travel in a plane while in office was Franklin D. Roosevelt. He flew in the Douglas Dolphin, which was an amphibian aircraft specifically for presidential travel, obtained in 1933. The interior of the plane was modified with luxury upholstery and seated 4 passengers with a separate sleeping compartment. The plane remained in service until 1939, however there are no records whether the president ever flew on it. Secret Service reconfigured a C-54 Skymaster as the first real presidential aircraft. The plane had a radio telephone, sleeping area, and discreet elevator to lift Roosevelt in his wheelchair. He only used the aircraft once to the Yalta Conference in 1945. Vice President Harry Truman became president after Roosevelt died in the spring of 1945. In 1947, he replaced the VC-54 with a modified C-118 Liftmaster called the Independence, which had a distinctive bald eagle painted on the front. The presidential call sign was established because of the incident in 1953, where an Eastern Airlines commercial flight was using the same call sign 8610. The aircraft accidentally entered the same airspace. The call sign Air Force One was designated for presidential aircraft after the incident. The first official use of the call sign was used in 1959 during the Eisenhower administration. Eisenhower introduced 4 propeller-driven aircraft, including 2 C-121 Constellations and 2 Aero Commanders. The Aero Commanders were the smallest aircraft that served as Air Force One. He also upgraded the Air Force One's technologies by adding air-to-ground telephones and air-to-ground teletype machines. In 1958, towards the end of Eisenhower's term, the Air Force added 3 Boeing 707 jets into the fleet. John F. Kennedy marked the beginning of the jet age in presidential aircraft. In October 1962, the administration bought a Boeing C-137 SAM 26,000 Stratoliner, which was modified long-range 707. Air Force attempted to make their own presidential livery for the aircrafts, which were red metallic gold color with the nation's name in block letters. Kennedy, with the advice from his wife, thought the planes looked too regal. The president met with industrial designer Raymond Loewy for the help in the new livery, which is still used in the presidential planes today. The SAM 26,000 was in service from 1962 to 1998, serving from Presidents Kennedy to Clinton. A SAM 27,000 replaced the aircraft in 1972, however the 26,000 was on backup until 1998. The last flight was after a flight with George Bush on August 16, 2001. During Ronald Reagan's term, the new Boeing 747s were being developed. The VC-25As were equipped with secure and unsecured communication systems, which allowed the presidents to perform duties even when the U.S. is under attack. On September 11, 2001, President George W. Bush was interrupted when attending an event at Emma E. Brooker Elementary School in Sarasota, Florida, when a plane crashed into the South Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. Bush took off in a VC-25. When they were flying, the air traffic controllers told them there was a passenger plane near them that was unresponsive. Air Force One flew to the Gulf of Mexico to see if the plane would follow, but it continued en route. The plane had lost its transponder and neglected to switch to another frequency. The flight back to Washington was aborted because of the risk of being attacked at Andrews Air Force Base. They diverted to Barksdale Air Force Base where the president made his speech. Our very
freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
The V-25s are soon expected to be replaced because of their less cost-effective operation. The replacement choices include Boeing's 747-8 or the Airbus A380 and were to begin their service in 2017. Boeing with its 747-8 or the 787 Dreamliner are also being proposed. Whatever the next aircraft is, Air Force One is the symbol of American presidents and its power.